Welcome to Sober Barkeep. I'm Brian Anderson, coming to you from Anderson's Guitar Bar here in lovely League City, Texas. Today we're going to take a look at a really classic drink. It's one of the Bohemian drinks that uses, of course, absinthe. Got it. Going to use it. I got to looking, and there's a drink called Death in the Afternoon. Death in the Afternoon is classic. It was created by Ernest Hemingway, and therefore it's also referred to as the Hemingway or the Hemingway cocktail or Hemingway champagne. And it's a drink that supposedly he just loved and drank a whole lot of, and I can see why. It's pretty tasty drink. Now, when I did the research on it, there are various different ways to build this thing, and I played around with it, and I came up with what I'm going to show you here in a minute. Back to Hemingway. He was a renowned alcoholic, and it doesn't surprise me he liked this drink because, as I've mentioned before, absinthe, in many cases, anywhere from 68 to 75% alcohol. Very, very high alcohol. Doesn't take drinking a whole lot of this to get you feeling it. And so I think that he spent some time in Paris during the time when this was just the drink to have. Played around with it and brought it back to the U.S. and drink a lot of these. So we're gonna do a classic spin on Death in the Afternoon. So classic Death in the Afternoon is a typical champagne flute or a champagne glass. It's one shot or about 1 ounce, basically, of absinthe, and then it's typically then in the most truest form. In fact, the way he documented it, it's simply topped off with dry champagne. When I played around with this, looking at the recipes, a lot of the recipes also call for a little bit of simple syrup. So we're going to put just a dash of simple syrup in here. I also found a recipe that called for a little bit of bitters. And I thought, man, the bitters really make the Sazerac. And I thought, let me play with that. And I did. And I'm glad I did. So I'm going to use all the bitter New Orleans. And I'm just going to do one dash of New Orleans all the bitter. And this makes a huge difference, let me tell you. Then you just simply top it off. And I'm using Nosecco. I like this. It's one of the drier, although I wouldn't call it bone dry by any stretch of the imagination. But it's definitely one of the drier non-alcoholic sparklings. And if I'm going to open one for an occasion, that's typically what I open. So I happen to have one here at the house and decided to do that. So when you pour this, that's really all there is to it. You just build it like this. You don't have to stir it. You don't have to do anything to it. It ends up with this kind of a light chartreuse color. Smell it. You can smell the absinthe right off the bat. And it's absolutely delicious. I think because there's no alcohol in this, and I mentioned this on the episode I did on absinthe, all the flavors there, but some of the bite is not there, obviously, because it's not 68% alcohol. I think by adding the bitters, it actually kind of adds a little bit of that back to it, and just adds a little complexity too. So I think this makes a heck of a drink. So I think it's true. It's true to at least some of the recipes I found, and if you got some of this stuff, give it a shot, because this is, I can see why Hemingway enjoyed this. I could sit around and sip on this thing all afternoon. Probably will. Sober Barkeep. Live well and drink smart.